What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's starting 11 prediction time once again, this time for Sunday's trip to Rugby Park to face Kilmarnock. But before we get into it, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. If you need a new football app on your phone, the OneFootball app will sort you out. You can select Celtic as your favourite team, and that will give you all the latest news, transfer speculation, fixtures, and even live match updates if for any reason you can't make it to a game or watch a game. You can also add widgets to your home screen to keep up to date with Celtic's next fixture, who it's against, what the kick-off time is, all that sort of stuff. And you can keep track of leagues from across the world, league tables, top goal scorers, you name it, you'll find it all there on the OneFootball app. You can download it by clicking the link in the description of this video. It is absolutely free wherever you get your apps on your phone, and it's a brilliant way to support Celtic Fans TV. So if you haven't downloaded it already and you want to try it out, click the link below, download it, and let us know what you think. So Kilmarnock on Sunday, back in the Scottish Premiership. They have had one draw and one defeat from their opening two games. They got a late equaliser against Dundee United on the opening day at Rugby Park, and then they were beaten 2-0 at Ibrox last weekend. Kilmarnock, of course, were only out of the league for one season. They did bounce straight back, and we know the thing that makes this fixture most difficult is the artificial surface. We know Kilmarnock will defend deep and they'll try and soak up Celtic's pressure, but the surface makes these games really difficult. We've not struggled as much at Rugby Park as we have done at Livingston, but it's never easy going there, and we've got the conditions this weekend where it's really, really hot weather. It's going to be very dry, difficult for the team to move the ball quickly. We're going to have to find a way to navigate those conditions. You'd expect Kilmarnock to make the pitch as small as they possibly can, both in how they set up and even physically before the game if they can get away with it. But the most important thing for the team is keeping the tempo high, keeping the intensity as high as possible. I contrast this game with that game at Livingston in March, where we had to go there and win in the run-in towards the title, and we did that. But it's the basics. These games are really, really down to the basics. We've got to start aggressively. We've got to win the tackles, win the second balls, and really keep the intensity high. Because if we start the game at 60 or 70% and we give Kilmarnock encouragement, we know these afternoons can get really, really difficult for us. So it's important that the team keep the tempo high from minute one and really go and attack the game and try and play as close to our football as we can on the surface given the dry conditions. We might have to be patient like we've seen against Ross County last weekend. The team stuck to their principles, they kept playing their football, and we got those two late goals. Jota instrumental once again, so it could be another one of those afternoons, but I think you're confident with the style of this Celtic team and how relentless they are. Summed up perfectly by that third goal last weekend, where 3 or 4 players are hunting down the ball in the 91st minute, even though we're up 2-1. That's the kind of intensity and the kind of principles that give you confidence if the game is close late on, that we will go to the final whistle. However it pans out, I hope we can get a good 3 points on the road on Sunday. We'll get to the team and we'll start in goals as we always do, with the main man, Celtic's number one, Reo Hatate, who made an absolutely vital save at 1 each last weekend from the free kick. It took a slight deflection. He seen it really, really late. It was going at some pace. He got a strong left arm in it, and who knows how the game would have panned out if he hadn't made that save. It was vital at a key time in the game, and yet again Reo Hatate is coming up big for us. What a signing he's been. At right back, I'm going to stick with Josip Juranovic. Some speculation about links with Chelsea this week. I think that's just in the same boat as the Atletico Madrid speculation. I don't think we're going to sell him yet. He's got 4 years to run on his contract. It'd almost be silly for the club to be looking to sell him right now with the World Cup coming up this winter. Who knows what his value could be next season if he excels in that World Cup. And I think that is a much more natural juncture to sell him. 3 years left in his deal. He'll be 27 then. And I think if we can get the most value for him, next summer is the time to cash in. I don't think it's going to materialise this window. At centre half, Carter Vickers will obviously keep his place. Moritz Jenz, I think, will play alongside him. The manager said today that Stephen Welsh has been assessed. He's had one full training day back with the first team squad. I think the surface, as we'll touch on as we go further up the pitch, the surface is going to be in the manager's thinking in terms of selecting a team. I don't think you want to play anybody who's just back for injury. That'll keep Starfelt out, I think. And Moritz Jenz had a good debut last week. Maybe not as good as we thought it was in the full-time reaction because of the difficulties everybody had streaming the game last week. Nobody seen the Ross County goal, and Hatate was Jens' man at the corner. He was a wee bit flat-footed, but other than that, I thought he defended well. He was confident on the ball, and he got that big goal with 6 minutes to go, nodding in Jota's cross. So I think all round it was a good debut. I think there's plenty more to come from, and I think he's done enough to keep his place in the starting lineup for Sunday. At left back, it'll be Greg Taylor, and in the opening 2 games, the only player that's performed at a higher level than Greg Taylor is Jota. He's been absolutely brilliant. Last weekend particularly, very, very good. He's instrumental in that third goal in terms of going and closing. I think it's Conor Vandal at right back for Ross County. He goes, closes him down, nearly wins it back, and then he's involved with Abada and Yakimakis and finally winning the ball back. He plays the 1-2 with Abada before it goes out to Jota, and then Abada scores that brilliant goal. That sums up this Celtic team, that intensity in the 91st minute, and Greg Taylor was absolutely central to it. He's been brilliant. I think he's got much, much better since Postecoglou arrived. And I touched on the first starting 11 prediction of the season. I touched on where Bernabei is and how he's going to get in the team. If Greg Taylor keeps performing like this, I don't think we'll see Bernabei starting for a while. And he's going to have a job displacing Greg Taylor when he's playing this well. In midfield, it'll obviously be the captain, Callum McGregor. The manager confirmed today that Reo Hatate isn't going to be risked on the artificial surface on Sunday. So David Turnbull, I expect, will start alongside Matt O'Reilly. That midfield 3, as I say, we had to be patient. McGregor was instrumental in the opening goal last weekend. Turnbull did come off when we brought Yakimakis on, and we almost went with the 2 up front, with Kyogo and Yakimakis on the pitch at the same time, which we haven't seen very often. Moy came on later in the game as we went back to a more sort of natural midfield setup. But I think Turnbull will keep his place. Again, the speed of the ball moving through midfield is going to be so important in this game. Given the surface, given the conditions, we need to move it as quickly as we can, and we need to stick to the principles, stick to what Ange wants the team to do, even though it will be hard on that surface. I think if we stick to the style that we've become associated with watching this Celtic team, we should do enough to get the win. Now, the front 3, there's some big decisions to make there. I think you could toss a coin between Abada and Maeda. Maeda hasn't hit the heights yet in the opening 2 games. He did come off at half-time last weekend for Abada. I don't know if that was because he took a knock. He had that chance just before half-time where he nicked in front of the defender. I don't know if he took a knock. The manager didn't say that he was an injury concern ahead of this game. But he's not performed at a high level so far in the opening 2 games, Maeda. But with Abada, scored a great goal last week. I think dribbling is one of the areas of Abada's game that he can improve in, and I think dribbling on this pitch is going to be very difficult. So I think it's a toss of a coin, but I am just going to go with Abada. And I think a change in that front 3 could freshen it up and could do some good. We'll have the strength on the bench with the likes of Maeda if he doesn't start. I think that game against Livingston on the artificial surface, back end of last season, Maeda was very, very good in that game. Got the opening goal, worked tirelessly as he always does. But I'm just going to go with Abada on Sunday. On a left-hand side, it's obviously going to be Jota. 3 assists last weekend, 1 goal already. He's opened his account against Aberdeen on the opening day. He's absolutely sublime. It's a joy to watch him every time he steps on the pitch in a Celtic jersey. And I think this season, if he can keep anywhere near this level of performance up, we're in for some season. He's been absolutely fantastic, and right now he is the form player in this Celtic team. Through the middle, I'm going to stick with Kyogo Furuhashi. I think his movement will be important. Again, the speed of the ball is going to be vital for the team in terms of trying to break Kilmarnock down. I think Kyogo's movement is important. We've got the option of Yakimakis off the bench if it's not working, or if we're comfortable in the game. We will see Yakimakis at some point. We know they're going to share the minutes throughout the season, but I'm just going to go with Kyogo to have a third start on the spin in this game. So there you go. That's the 11 I think the manager will go with on Sunday. Obviously, 11 out of 11 the first week, 10 out of 11 last weekend. I didn't know Stephen Welsh was going to be ill. So we'll see how close I get this week. There you go. That's the team I've went with. Like this video, comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you at Rugby Park on Sunday with the full-time reaction. Cheers.